At the top of this podcast episode, I want to talk about the upcoming Republican sheriff candidate runoff between Greg Kitchens and Carl Ritchie on June 25th. Greg Kitchens is a Republican Party candidate who ran for election to the Charleston County Sheriff position in South Carolina. He was on the ballot in the Republican primary held on June 11th, 2024. Kitchens, a retired U.S. Marine Corps colonel, aims to transform the department into the finest law enforcement agency in South Carolina if elected. Recently, he secured 45% of the vote in the primary, and he's expected to advance to a runoff with another candidate, Carl Ritchie. His campaign focuses on improving law enforcement services and ensuring public safety in Charleston County. Charleston County Sheriff Republican primary. Greg Kitchens, GOP, won 9,519 votes, or 44.5%. Carl Ritchie, also GOP, won 8,908 votes, or 41.7%. And Rick Keyes, who is a GOP candidate, won 1,697 votes, or 7.9%. The race to secure the Republican nomination for Charleston County Sheriff narrowed Tuesday, with Greg Kitchens and Carl Ritchie expected to advance to a runoff. Unofficial results from the South Carolina Election Commission showed that Kitchens had 45% of the vote and Ritchie had 42%, with all precincts reporting. In South Carolina, a candidate must receive at least 50% of the vote to win outright. If no candidate reaches that threshold, the top two vote getters advance to a runoff. The remainder of the vote was split between Rick Keyes and Rocky Burke. Kitchens previously served as a deputy in the Charleston County Sheriff's Office, and Ritchie was the longtime chief of the Mount Pleasant Police Department. The winner of the June 25th runoff election will face incumbent Sheriff Kristen Graziano, who was unopposed in the Democratic primary in November. On a personal note, I will tell you that I spoke to Greg Kitchens on the phone. He was on his way to North Carolina to a outdoor podcast, and we spoke about Second Amendment rights and legal gun owners and the ability of citizens to own a firearm and provide for their own self-defense. And I'll say that Mr. Kitchens is very supportive of the Second Amendment. He understands and believes that private citizens have a right to own firearms, and he understands that with the new constitutional carry law that was passed, that if you're a legal gun owner and not a felon, you can concealed carry or open carry a firearm. He's also a huge proponent of training. If you're going to carry a firearm, you should be familiar with how it operates and works, and you need to be able to use it effectively and be able to hit what you're shooting at and not be hitting any innocent bystanders. God forbid. All right, switching gears, I want to talk to you about the importance of self-defense insurance and what your options are. You, as a legal gun owner, may fall under one of several categories as a legal gun owner in South Carolina. You have a current CWP in South Carolina. You do not have a CWP, but you're a legal gun owner who is now able to open carry or conceal carry under the new constitutional carry law that was passed recently here in South Carolina. By the way, it took us almost 10 years to secure a constitutional carry bill here in South Carolina. You may or may not train with your firearm on a regular basis. You carry your everyday carry with you, your self-defense weapon, where you're legally able to carry for self-defense purposes. You want to be able to protect your life and the life of loved ones. No one wakes up in the morning with the desire to use deadly force against another human being. We certainly do not want to take the life of another person. We all know that violence is on the rise. We also know that with the introduction of constitutional carry or open carry, that violent crimes against people will be on the decline. That is because criminals understand that people are serious about self-defense. So let's look at some scenarios in which you might find yourself in that you might have to be able to defend yourself or your loved ones. This is my favorite coffee cup, Cat in the Hat, by the way. Gotta have coffee in the morning, right? So you might be the victim of a carjacking. You're sitting at the light, looking at your smartphone while the light's red, and you're scrolling your social media sites, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it is, and all of a sudden somebody comes up to your car and sticks a gun in your face and says, "Give me your car and give me your valuables." It happens. You might be the victim of a home invasion. You may be at home in your recliner watching Netflix, watching a movie or stand-up comedy on Netflix, and before you know it, somebody's kicking in your door. Wow. Does that happen? Yes. It happens more frequently than you might think. You might face a threat while you're in the parking lot at Walmart. Don't be that person that's walking from Walmart with bags in your hands, and your in one hand and your smartphone in the other, not paying attention to your surroundings. Criminals, predators, are looking for soft targets. Don't make yourself a soft target. Have your head on a swivel. Be paying attention to what's going on in your area, your immediate vicinity. You might face a threat while you're unloading your groceries in your driveway. Just because you're at home does not mean that you're safe, right? We want to think that we're safe because we're at home, but that's not necessarily the case. Pay attention to what's going on around your house. Look at your front door. Look at the shrubs. Look around the corners of your house. Just pay attention. If you see something that you don't feel comfortable with, don't get out of your car. Put it in reverse. Back up. Go down the street. Call 911. Get the police there so they can handle whatever the issue is. If you're able to. You might be the victim of domestic violence. That is sadly enough a frequent occurrence in our state, all states in America. I mean, there's a huge issue with domestic violence. So you want to be able to protect yourself against maybe a significant other that is having problems, have a drug addiction, alcohol. They have a problem with anger management. There's a whole slew of issues swirling around domestic violence. Anyway, you want to be able to protect yourself. The list goes on. We must be prepared for the eventuality that these things might happen. That means we have to have our head on a swivel and practice situational awareness and avoidance. There's nothing wrong with avoiding violence. There's nothing wrong with avoiding road rage and avoiding places that you shouldn't be in. Our threat level mindset should be in condition yellow at all times. We're on guard at all times. We must be mentally prepared to face the threat and neutralize it. Let me say that again. We must be mentally prepared to face the threat and neutralize it. Some people will say this: "Oh, I have never been attacked at home or at work or on the way to either place. Why do I need to carry a gun and worry about this sort of thing? I don't need to be paranoid." I've had people say, "Why do you carry a gun? Why are you so paranoid?" And I tell them, I'm not paranoid, I'm prepared. There's a difference. I've had pastors tell me the very same thing when I talk to them about church security. "Oh, we have not had an incident in this church for however many years," they quote, "that they've been there. There's no need to be paranoid now. And I'm certainly not going to allow people to carry a weapon in my church or our church." We all know that the best offense is a prepared defense. We must understand what the different threats are and where they might come from. Let me say that again. We must understand what the different threats are and where they might come from. Remember I told you about being at home and you feel like you're safe at home? Are you really relaxed at home? Do you not consider the fact that somebody might kick in your door? So when you're at home, that yes, that is your castle, and you have an expectation of being safe, but you have to be prepared in case something were to happen. We should understand that our everyday carry, our defensive firearm, is not a magical talisman. Having a firearm in our nightstand does not mean that nothing will ever happen. A tool is only as good as the person using it. That means that we need to train with it. Now, when you talk about self-defense, there are many different types of tools in your toolkit. You have non-lethal defense, you have lethal defense. The first most important thing that you have, the most powerful tool in your toolkit, is your brain, the thing that sits between both ears, right? Knowledge is power. We need to learn how to shoot our self-defense weapon at a target downrange. Let me say that again. Our self-defense weapon is a tool that, God forbid, if we have to deploy it to defend ourselves or our loved ones against serious bodily injury and or death, we need to know how to use it. We need to know how to identify malfunctions with our weapon and how to clear them quickly. We need to be prepared for what happens after the firearm has been discharged because of a self-defense incident. What happens now? You've just neutralized the threat. Let's say you just had to use deadly force on a threat and they're down. The smoke clears, now what? This is what a lot of gun owners never consider. I've had people tell me that if the shooting was justified, that they have nothing to worry about. The law is on their side. Really? Let's examine that. So what happens after a shooting? What should you do? As the victim, you should identify yourself as the victim by calling 911 immediately after the incident. There's a good chance that other people have already called 911. But you need to call 911 and let them know that you're the victim and tell them the circumstances of why you are the victim. You should say, hello, my name is John Doe, and I have just had to shoot someone who was attacking me and my family. You're the victim. Please send an ambulance to my location immediately. Make sure the threat has been neutralized and there are no further threats nearby. Once you do that, you holster your weapon. The second call you should make is to a friendly attorney or your self-defense insurance provider. For a monthly fee of $30 or less, there are 3 different self-defense insurance providers that I will identify later. Actually, there's more than 3. You will notify them of this incident, and then they will engage an action plan that will provide you with immediate legal counsel and support. Let me repeat this. Make sure you are not standing there with a weapon in your hand when the police arrive. The police officers responding have no idea who the good guys are versus the bad guy. You don't want to be standing there at the scene with a gun in your hand because you're going to be identified as a threat, and the officers are going to respond according to their training. So don't have a gun in your hand when the cops arrive. Make sure your hands are where they can be seen. Do not present yourself as a threat. You are the victim. Comply with lawful orders from police officers. Prepare to be handcuffed and detained while the officers sort things out. Understand that everyone has a smartphone and camera, and people on the scene probably took pictures or video of the incident. This is a critical thing, a thought that you need to remember. The police are not your friend. Let me say it again. The police are not your friend. They will want to get you to talk at the scene. Hey, what happened? Why did you shoot this person? What was going on? A whole host of questions will be asked of you. Be nice and tell them that you have requested that your attorney respond to the scene to represent you. You do not want to talk with the police without them present. Do not talk to the police or make statements without your legal counsel present. because they are there to guide you. They're there to talk for you because they know what to say. You may wind up taking a ride to the local county lockup while the police sort things out. That's where your self-defense insurance comes into play. You may take the ride to the jail, but you will probably not have to spend the night. Your self-defense insurance provides you with bail money coverage. Bail bond coverage, rather. If you've never been in a self-defense shooting or taken the life of another human being, you will more than likely be in shock. Your adrenaline will be pumping and you'll have tunnel vision. You won't be able to hear a whole lot. Things will seem as if they're happening in slow motion. Of course, everybody reacts differently. What you will experience will not be anything like what you see in the movies where Hollywood portrays what violence looks like. You probably will not be able to shoot a bad guy one time and they will fly backwards and go down immediately. You may have to discharge your weapon several times to neutralize the threat. Depending on where you live and what the political climate is, you will most certainly need to have a Second Amendment friendly attorney on your side. If you do not have $10,000 sitting around in the bank to retain a lawyer, that is where self-defense insurance comes to your defense. Let me repeat this. You need a Second Amendment friendly attorney that is familiar with South Carolina gun laws and self-defense laws. So now let's talk about self-defense insurance. Self-defense insurance, often referred to as concealed carry insurance or gun owner insurance, is a specialized policy designed to provide legal protection and coverage for individuals who use a firearm in self-defense situations. If you ever find yourself in the unfortunate position of having to use your firearm to protect yourself or loved ones, this insurance can cover legal fees, bail bonds, and other associated costs. It ensures that you're not burdened financially while defending your actions in court. It ensures that you're not burdened financially while defending your actions in court. Yes, you may wind up in a court hearing with a jury. That's where the self-defense insurance policy kicks in and you are protected by a Second Amendment friendly attorney. Here are some notable self-defense insurance providers. CCW Safe offers comprehensive coverage including bail bond assistance, criminal defense, attorney fees, and civil damages. Oh wow, what? Civil damages? I'm cleared in a court of law of criminal negligence and I'm free to go, and you're telling me that I might wind up in civil court? Yes. You can get sued by the victim's family. USCCA, or United States Concealed Carry Association, is the second one on the list. Provides insurance-backed coverage with varying levels of protection by state. It includes criminal defense, attorney fees, and civil damages. U.S. Law Shield offers insurance-backed coverage with bail bond assistance, criminal defense, attorney fees, and civil damages. Number 4 on the list is Second Call Defense. Provides insurance-backed coverage including criminal defense, attorney fees, and civil damages. I've never heard of Second Call Defense. The next one is Firearms Legal Protection. That's number 5. Offers insurance-backed coverage with varying benefits by state. Number 6 is Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. Not insurance-based, but provides legal protection. It includes criminal defense attorney fees and civil damages. Remember to research and choose the option that aligns with your specific self-defense needs and budget. Each provider has its pros and cons, so consider your priorities when making a decision. So, I have CCW Safe currently. For many years, I went with USCCA, or United States Concealed Carry Association. I had their, I was paying about $30 a month, and I had their platinum level protection. I had the same amount of protection, if not more, with CCW Safe for $19.99 a month, which is a little bit cheaper. So yes, We all have a budget. We all have expenses. We have to decide what our priorities are. And God forbid, I mean, like I said earlier in the podcast, none of us ever get up thinking that we're going to have to take the life of another human being. We don't. We're not anticipating violence happening to ourselves or our loved ones. But you need to be prepared. That's why you have car insurance. That's why you have fire insurance coverage. If you're in the low country here in South Carolina, you have flood insurance. There's all different types of insurances that we pay for in case of an emergency. I mean, we have fire extinguishers in our house in case that, the kitchen catches on fire, or there's an electrical short, something catches on fire, and the smoke alarm wakes you up in the middle of the night. You need that fire extinguisher handy to help mitigate the damage before first responders get here, the firefighters, professional firefighters get here. Self-defense insurance is just like that. You hope you never need to use it, but if you have to use it, it'll be a wonderful thing because you'll be covered, right? So, if you're a legal gun owner in South Carolina and you have a firearm that you use for self-defense and you train with it, got your head on a swivel, you practice such situational awareness, you practice avoidance, you're smart, you don't go to places in the middle of the night that you don't need to be going. You need to add self-defense insurance to your toolkit. A lot of people don't think about that. They don't think about it because they're not anticipating having to use their self-defense weapon. And I'm here to tell you that if you don't have self-defense insurance and you don't have a bank account full of money that you're willing to give to a attorney, a 2A friendly attorney, you need it. You need to carry it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Liberty and Gun Rights podcast, episode 27. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Our podcast is hosted on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. That's Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Be sure to share our podcast with your Second Amendment friends, family, and coworkers. You can contact me at Liberty Gun Rights Podcast at proton.me. That's Liberty Gun Rights Podcast at proton.me. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and goodbye for now. Oh, here's something I want to tell you. Before I say goodbye, carry responsibly. All right. But that's all, folks.